Our coverage of CES 2026 from Las Vegas, Nevada is brought to you by Thermaltake, Gigabyte, Asus, and MSI. What's up guys, I'm at Gigabyte. We're going to look at least one graphics card. They have some new motherboards. They might even have like AM4 motherboards because, you know, it's that kind of year where throwback hardware is quite the rage. But let's start off with the big guy right over here. So we're starting off with the largest and possibly the most expensive product that Gigabyte has on display here. They now have a specialty series super high-end RTX 5090. Apparently NVIDIA has now manufactured enough 5090 GPUs that they can actually source enough of them to make this kind of graphics card. Last year we saw lots of special edition RTX 5080s, so it's cool to see 5090s coming out, even though, as many of you are probably already noting in the comments, this is likely going to be a very expensive graphics card. We have no word on availability or price at this point, so let's just focus on the design, shall we? We have not one fan, not two fans, but actually three fans. There is a special fan in the middle called an overdrive fan that will only kick in for boosted airflow to help cool the VRMs. Because the VRMs and the GPU and actually everything on this graphics card are on a special made PCB, which is centered on the card. So I don't know if you can see, but you got pass-through fans, not just down on this end, as is pretty common these days, i.e. the Founders Edition cards, but also over on this end. And you can kind of see where the PCB ends right in there. So more blow-through, that has been proven to be an effective cooling method, especially if you have larger fans like these. They're calling this the Wind Force Hyperburst Cooling System with patented Hawk fans, because, you know, Aorus, they've got that, isn't it an eagle? Is it an Aorus eagle or a hawk? Well, now they've got an Aorus eagle and a hawk. Also notable with a GPU this size, it's actually not terribly long. I mean, it is a big card. I'm not trying to like convince you guys otherwise there. But this is like their just RX 9070 XT Elite from their Aorus Radeon series. And you can see lengthwise, they're roughly the same. Other features include RGB lighting, of course, although this one is not plugged in so it can light up. Oh, and part of the reason they decided to make this card is because it's their 40th anniversary. So they got a little 40 there in the corner as well to celebrate Gigabyte. 40 years of making gigabytes. Yes. Aorus Hawk logo in the center as well. It says Aorus Design Lab around the edge. And just some pretty cool aesthetics. Giving you guys a look at sort of the shiny parts on the bulbous ends of this, because it does have fairly bulbous ends. It's like an owl looking at you right now. It's looking into your soul. An owl, or I don't know, what else does this remind you guys of? Let me know in the comments section down below. Gigabyte has a couple motherboards on display here. This one is visually quite pleasing. I mean, that's at least my initial impression of it. This is the X870E Aero X3D wood. These X3D motherboards from Gigabyte have special sauce. It is said to be AI powered to get the most out of an X3D processor. I have not tested that myself personally, so this is Gigabyte's information that I'm sharing with you as far as performance uplift and everything. For the moment though, let's just focus on the aesthetics. We have this nice sort of light colored wood trim going along the outside. Did confirm with Gigabyte that this is not real wood, this is a synthetic wood, and that is actually a good thing because it looks just like real wood, but it's also not going to be affected as much by thermals, because wood expands and contracts when it gets hot or cold or humidity, that sort of thing, so it does make it a little bit more difficult to work with. They said that they spent a lot of extra time making sure that since these wood accent pieces are along some parts of the boards that do get warmer, they paid special attention to the adhesive that was in use to make sure that it's going to last for the lifetime of the product. Beyond that, this board has a 16+2+2 phase VRM solution. It's got the M.2 Easy Flex, which are these little tabs that you can pull off in order to remove to access the M.2 drives. It, of course, still has the automatic catch release push button there to release your graphics card or whatever card might be installed in that top PCI Express slot. And a nice set of added features here, like plenty of fan connectivity, RGB LEDs, of course. We got a debug LED that's mounted right here, an extra HDMI out for your integrated graphics on your CPU, and USB connectivity along the bottom, two USB 3.0s, the front panel USB 3.2 Gen 2 header. We even got a couple USB 2.0s down here because that is still important for connecting lots of different peripherals. This board is coming soon. We do not have a price for it quite yet, but Gigabyte is toying around with additional ideas, such as perhaps different wood finishes that they might put on here. Maybe something a little bit darker and like a walnut, perhaps, variety to match with different case aesthetics. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think of that motherboard, what do you think of its look. The next one over here is the X870E Aorus Xtreme X3D AI Top. It has a very long name, yes, that is true. but that's because it has lots of features, like an LCD panel that's mounted right there. It's not on right now, but you can see my reflection in it. We have not one, but two 10 gigabits LAN ports integrated. You can see all the I/O back here, including USB-A and Type-C connectors. A very clean looking full cover for all of your M.2 expansion slots down here. I'm not sure if I'd be able to open this. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pick this up. Oh, they put tape on it. That's smart. There we go, I'm hand holding it. Obviously, I don't wanna drop a board like this. Neither does Gigabyte. That's why they put some tape on the back to hold it to the wall. You can see it has a full cover back plate here on the back of the motherboard. Crazy overbuilt VRM solution. That's 24 plus 2 plus 2 phase power delivery for the AM5 socket there and the memory. And we got a little latch down there that opens up to show our M.2 connectivity, where we have 4 M.2 slots, as well as look, there's a little Aorus guy right there who says hi when you pop that off, and you can see the connectors there for the LED that's going to also light up when this panel is in place. It's kind of see-through down there at the bottom too, kind of semi-opaque. That's pretty cool looking. And I didn't even notice, but they've tucked a couple more PCIe expansion slots underneath the cover down there. So obviously you need to access those if you installed more than just like a graphics card in here. So this plastic panel will pop off as well. I don't want to do it all the way because I'm sort of precariously holding this in my hand right now. Aha, it's held on with magnets, so that removes just like that, and that gives you access to the lower 2 PCI Express slots. Okay, speaking of that X870E Aero X3D wood, here it is, actually installed in a system. This is a custom build for the show. Looks really nice. So here you can see some colored accents on the case, which are matching very nicely with the wood accents on the motherboard. They've also got a PCIe riser cable that moves the graphics card over here into a position of more prominence toward the front of the case for the graphics card, but also giving you a very nice look at that motherboard. So, you know, a lot of motherboards look really nice, very clean if you're into how motherboards look, I guess. So really cool that in this case they were able to set it up in a way that you can get an appreciative look at it. And you know what would be cool? You know what would be cool? It would be if the graphics card had wood accents on it as well. Would you guys be interested in a graphics card that has wood accents? I'm just curious. Again, if you think that would look cool as sort of a finishing touch for a build like this, let me know in the comments section down below. Right, so the graphics card and the motherboards were the main thing that Gigabyte wanted to show off for this show, but I also wanted to take a look at a couple other clean builds that they have on display. And of course, Gigabyte has monitors. I promised you guys that I'd be taking a look at monitors because it's one of the things that we can kind of get excited about in the world of PC hardware right now, if we're ignoring stuff like memory prices and that sort of thing. Monitor prices have been coming down. Technology that used to be more expensive is becoming less expensive. So the first thing that was explained to me here is how to decipher the model names of monitors, which is always difficult. We have the model number, 27 is 27 inches, the Q is QHD, 28 is 280 hertz refresh rate, G means it's an LG panel that this is built with, and the R stands for rad. So this 27-inch 280 hertz OLED panel is actually already available on the market without the R version. That is the Real Black Glossy, which is a finish that they put on the panel, which both helps out with the black levels and helps you not get sort of a different color, like some of the OLED panels can have a reddish or purplish sheen, especially if you're in a brightly lit room. So while this is still a glossy panel, you can probably see my reflection in there. It's not going to suffer from as much of the reflective issues that you can have in more brightly lit rooms. And the good news about this one is it should be available very soon, and it's going to cost about $600. Which is an excellent price for an OLED panel. This one is also going to be available very soon. We're looking at probably February or March timeframe for this one. This is the MO27Q28GR, so still an LG panel, still 280 hertz refresh rate, still QHD resolution, which is 2560 by 1440. This one specializes in HDR. It actually has up to 1500 nits of peak brightness, and they also have 3 HDR modes that you can switch between that will adjust the HDR-ness of the display to increase or decrease the contrast depending on the content that you're watching, the game you're playing, or what you're doing with the panel. Next, we have the MO32U24. So this one is a 32-inch and 240 hertz refresh rate, and it is a 4K panel, and it is, yes, still an OLED screen. This one we're expecting to come out around the May time frame. We're looking at a price of around $1,000 to $1,100. And if you're not immediately impressed by the fact that it's a 32-inch 4K OLED panel that's 240 hertz refresh rate, consider some of the additional technology built in. It's got the anti-reflection film, like the other panel we looked at down down the line. And that also improves the panel's durability. So if you're giving it a wipe down with a cloth or something like that, it's going to be less likely to give you micro scratches. But this also has what's called adaptive picture intelligence, which means the monitor is going to be monitoring what you're displaying on the screen. And if you switch, like say from a game to productivity or something like that, watch what happens. It's not going to immediately switch color mode, it's going to subtly transition. So it just realized that, oh, this looks more like a text, you're doing work, you're doing a PowerPoint or something like that. So it switched over into a mode that's going to give you better contrast with text. That's going to be better for reading and doing productivity, you know, Excel spreadsheets and that sort of thing. This last one is a little bit of a teaser, but this is the MO34WQC36. That means it's a 34-inch ultra-wide, and it is, of course, still an OLED panel, and the 36 on the end of that model name means it has a 360 hertz refresh rate. The thing that is unique about this panel, for any of you OLED panel nerds out there, the OLED subpixel layout on some OLED, or actually many OLED displays, is not that conducive for reading text. It has like a triangular pixel layout. This one uses a vertical pixel layout with the 3 pixels side by side, which is much better for text clarity. And I don't know why it has been difficult to manufacture OLED panels with that sort of subpixel layout, but Gigabyte now has this model available. It's going to be available in Asia, but they're considering bringing it to the US market as well. Still not 100% sure on that, so again, this might be a little bit of a teaser, but this one you would expect to sell for around $1,100-ish if they bring it to the US. So again, if you guys are looking for an ultra-wide OLED panel that is also good for productivity and text reading, consider this one. Once again, that model name is MO34WQC36. I had to grab the 5090 Infinity one more time for the outro here. Talking about the aesthetics of this card and the edges here, like Tron motorcycle wheels. Is that what you guys are getting from that? Also, I'm not sure if I showed, but the power, oh, I'm showing the wrong side. The power connector is tucked in there at an angle as well, which is great for aesthetics. Just make sure you don't have a 90-degree angled 12V2x6 power connector. Gigabyte's RTX 5090 Infinity is expected to launch at the end of February, and the price, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. That's how PC hardware works these days. Angela gets the cameo in my video. All right. But I'm going to securely replace this because it is apparently the only model that they have here right now, which is why we haven't been able to show it to you powered up. But in closing for this video, I would like to say a big thank you to Gigabyte for sponsoring my CES 2026 coverage. I would like to say thank you to you guys for watching, and I would like to encourage you to check out the playlist in the video description if you'd like to see my other coverage of this show. Also, check out my store, paulshardware.net. That's linked in the description as well if you'd like to buy yourself some high-quality merchandise. More videos coming at you. We'll see you all in the next one.